incident related to the police officer-involved shooting that occurred on Friday, May 1st, 2020 at approximately 10:28 p.m. That incident occurred on the southeast corner of Colfax and Irving Street. That's the parking lot of the Denver Public Library there. This is intended to be a preliminary briefing based upon the information that we've gathered after interviewing witnesses, speaking with the involved officers, and analyzing evidence from the scene. This investigation's in the early stages, and there may be questions I might not be able to answer at this point. With that, I'll go ahead and provide the background on this incident. On Friday, May 1st, 2020, at approximately 10:22 p.m., uniformed officers assigned to the Denver Police Department's gang unit observed a vehicle driving at a high rate of speed in the area of I-70 and I-25. The vehicle was going westbound on I-70 and merged onto southbound I-25. The officers that observed the car did not attempt to contact the driver at the time, but instead requested the assistance of the police helicopter, which was airborne at the time and in the area of the incident. The helicopter picked up the vehicle as it was southbound on I-25 near the 23rd Avenue ramp. And video from the police helicopter documented this vehicle traveling extremely fast. It was catching other groups of cars that were ahead of it very rapidly. The vehicle was observed exiting onto Colfax Avenue, and it stopped at the light at the top of the ramp. Uniformed officers driving marked Denver police vehicles attempted a traffic stop on the vehicle after it turned onto westbound Colfax. The vehicle briefly pulled over to the right shoulder in the area of Federal Boulevard off-ramp, and it was at that time that a passenger who was in the rear of the vehicle exited the car with his hands in the air. When that passenger exited, the vehicle again took off westbound. The officers that made the contact did not follow or pursue that vehicle. They remained with the individual who got out of the vehicle and detained him without incident. As the vehicle continued westbound, the police helicopter remained overhead, monitoring and relaying the location to the officers on the ground. The police helicopter observed the vehicle turn south onto Irving Street from Colfax. It then pulled into a private access drive that gave it into the parking lot eventually of the Denver Public Library at 1498 North Irving Street. The driver stopped the vehicle in the parking lot. It wasn't parked in a space, it was actually parked near an exit point at the other end of the parking lot. The occupants remained in the vehicle for nearly a minute. And after a minute passed or so, they got out of the vehicle and began walking southbound. They were walking in a private drive which connects Colfax to 14th Avenue and is on the west side of the apartments and the east side of the library parking lot there. The helicopter operators provided descriptions to the responding officers. They gave descriptions of the driver, a male, as well as a passenger, a female, who were walking away together towards 14th Avenue. The gang officers then attempted to make contact with these individuals now that they were out of their vehicle. Contact was made right at the mouth of the private drive as they went to 14th Avenue. There was officers on the 14th side as well as in the private driveway there. The officers gave commands, advised the parties to put their hands in the air. Both complied initially. The male immediately took off running back northbound. So he's running back northbound up the drive that he just walked southbound in, and he's headed back to his vehicle. The uniformed officers gave chase on foot, pursuing the individual. As they were closing the gap and an officer was within approximately 10 feet of the individual, he produced a handgun from his waistband, a semi-automatic handgun, and pointed it towards an officer. That officer then at that point drew his weapon and fired 4 rounds at the individual. The individual was struck multiple times and fell to the ground. The subject dropped the handgun, and officers immediately rendered medical aid and requested an ambulance to respond. The subject was transported to an area hospital where he was later pronounced deceased. I can report that none of the officers involved in this incident were injured. At the scene, the investigators did recover a loaded semi-automatic 9mm handgun. And this handgun was recovered in the immediate area where the subject fell after being shot. The officers involved in this incident were wearing body-worn cameras. Their cameras were activated and captured this shooting. After interviewing the passenger who got out of the vehicle near Colfax and Federal, there are no criminal charges. That party cooperated with the investigation and was released. We are still looking for the female involved in this. We believe to know who she is, and we're working to track her down to get a statement related to this incident. However, we do not anticipate charges against that individual at this time. In regards to the officer that was involved in this incident, that officer was in a full police uniform at the time and was driving a marked Denver police vehicle. The officer holds the rank of corporal and is assigned to the gang unit. A corporal in the gang unit is considered a first-line supervisor as well as a training officer. The officer was hired back in 2005 and has not been involved in any prior officer-involved shooting incidents, and he is currently on a modified duty status during this investigation. The deceased individual has been identified as William Lamont DeBose, D-E-B-O-S-E. Mr. DeBose's birth date was September 12th of 1998. The investigation of this critical incident is being conducted by the Denver Police Department's Major Crimes Division, the Aurora Police Department's Major Crime Unit, and the Denver District Attorney's Office. And it's also being monitored by our Office of the Independent Monitor, which is a civilian entity. I'll conclude by just requesting anybody who has information or video or photos of this incident to please contact the Denver Police Department or Crime Stoppers. I can answer any questions you may have.
When did the man die? Was that that same night, or was it on Saturday morning? What was he pronounced dead?
I'd have to verify the time. It was after his arrival at the hospital, but I don't know exactly when that occurred. All right,
Do officers believe that the two people in the vehicle and the man who died, did they believe they were involved in gang activity in the city or the metro area? Can you?
We have no information regarding that. While it was a gang unit officer that made the contact, we don't have any information that these individuals were involved in gang activity.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Good. Stop the feed.
Thank you.